All right, Math Aid students, this is the lesson 11.1 guided practice, and I am out of the classroom, so I'm leaving this for you guys to watch if you need some assistance as you go through this, as we normally would in class. So, number 1 and 2, we are to find each missing angle measure. Now, from what we learned in Explore Activity 1 and Example 1, we learned that the sum of all angle measures is 180 degrees. So to find this missing angle measure, we need to add these two angle measures up, because 78 plus 31 plus our missing angle measure, measure of angle M, equals 180 degrees. So 78 plus 31 equals 109. Plus the measure of angle M equals 180. Now to get this, we need to subtract our known measures, the sum of our known measures, and that leaves us with the measure of angle M equals 180 minus 109, 71 degrees. So the measure of angle M is 71 degrees. Now, I wrote out all of this work, but you don't actually need to write all of that if you don't need to. So what we need to do for this next one is...
Taya, can you please report to the study hall immediately?
All right, sorry, I had to pause it there for some announcements. So we're moving on to number 2, where we are, again, finding the missing angle measure of angle Q. So we've got two angles that we know. We know that the sum of them needs to be equal to 180 degrees. So we're going to take the ones we know, 126 plus 24, and that is 150, and subtract that from the sum that we should have for all three. And so our missing angle measure should be 30 degrees. Make sure you guys are using that degree symbol. So this is more of kind of the work I expect you guys to show. This is just showing how all of it breaks down over here. All right, number 3 and number 4, we are asked to use the triangle sum theorem to find the measures of each angle in degrees. So again, we're using what we know, that all the angle measures need to add up to 180 degrees. So they give us little expressions here that we can set equal to 180 to solve for those angle measures. So I'm going to go ahead and do that over here on the right because I've got a little more space. So I've got 7x plus 4 plus 5x plus 3 plus 2x plus 5 equals 180 degrees. So I'm going to combine all my x's here. 7 plus 5 is 12. Plus 2 is 14, so I've got 14x plus all my constants, 4 plus 3 plus 5, so that is 7 plus 5 is 12, and that equals 180. Now I'm going to go ahead and subtract, use my inverse operations here. Got 14x equals, we borrow 8, 168. And then I'm going to divide by 14. So 168 divided by 14. And I'm just going to pop that in a calculator here so you guys don't have to hang out while I do all of that. And that x equals 12. Okay, so now we have the value of x. So we need to plug that back into each one of these equations. So if I've got 7 times 12, plus 4. 7 times 12 is 84, plus 4 is 88. Okay, so that would be this angle measure here. So that's the measure of angle T is 88 degrees. I'm going to plug into this next one. 5 times x, and x is 12. Plus 3. So 5 times 12 is, that's not right, 60 plus 3 is 63.
Donna, could you please call the office? Donna, call the office. Thank you.
And then my last angle measure that I'm plugging in is 2 times 12 plus 5 equals 24 plus 5. 24 plus 5 is 29. So now I'm just going to go ahead and fill those angle measures in here. My measure of angle U, which is this one, my 2x plus 5, is 29 degrees. And my measure of angle V is 63 degrees. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing over here now. And I'm actually going to erase this. So hopefully you wrote it down if you needed it. I just don't have the space. And so we're going to set that up the same way we did with our 3 angle measures set equal to 180 degrees. So we have n plus 1/2 n plus 1/2 n equals 180. So we're going to go ahead and combine our n's now. Well, 1/2 plus 1/2 is 1. So this is n plus n. So we have 2n equals 180. And we're going to divide by 2. So n equals 90. All right, so we're going to go ahead now and fill in our missing angle measures based on what we know for n. So n here, the measure of angle x, is just n, which is 90 degrees. And then these two angles are equal, which means they would be half of 90, right? 1/2 of n. So that's going to be 45 degrees and 45 degrees, because 90 divided by 2 is 45. Okay, now moving on to 5 and 6, where we are using the exterior angle theorem to find the measure of each angle in degrees. And that is, just in quick review, telling us that our exterior angle is equal to the sum of the, what do they call those? Remote interior angles. So these are the remote interior angles. And the sum of these two is equal to our exterior angle. So we're going to set another equation. And this time we're going to set these two angles equal to 116. So we have 4y plus 7y plus 6 is equal to 116. Combine our y's, and we have 11y plus 6 is equal to 116. Minus our 6 here to try and get y by itself, so 110 divided by 11 equals y equals 10. Okay, so now we just have to plug those in. And so my first one here is 4y. So 4 times 10 is 40. So that's this angle measure here. And so that's the measure of angle C. And I'm going to write that down here, 40 degrees. Then I need to figure this one out. And so that is 7 times 10 plus 6. 7 times 10 is 70, plus 6 is 76. So that is the measure of angle D, degrees. And then I need to figure out the measure of angle DEC. So angle DEC, so this missing angle here. So 2 ways I can do that. I can add these up and subtract that from 180, because I know all 3 of these should equal 180 as a sum. Or I can subtract 116 from 180, because these 2 angles added up would be 180. So I'm going to go ahead and do that one. I'm going to take 180 minus 116, and I get, borrow 10, 6, 64 degrees. And so if I was to check that, I can just add all of these angles back up, and I should get 180 degrees. That's my double check. 40 plus 76 plus 64, and that does equal 180. I just double check that on my calculator here. Okay. Next one that we are going to do, we're going to set it up the same way. We're going to use our exterior angle measure and set that equal to our remote interior angles. So we've got 161 is equal to 18z plus 3 plus 5z minus 3. Maybe let's write that a little bit darker so you guys can see it. 161 equals 18z plus 3 plus 5z minus 3. Okay, so I'm going to combine my like terms here. And so I've got my 18z and my 5z, and that is 23z. So 161 equals 23z. And then plus 3 minus 3, that's 0. So now I just have, these will cancel each other out. So now I just need to divide by 23. And that's going to give me z equals 161 divided by 23, which is 7. Okay? So now that I have the value of z, I need to plug that back in to these expressions and figure out what my angle measures are. So I've got 5z, which is 5 times 7 minus 3. 5 times 7 is 35, minus 3 is 32. So this measure right here is 32, and that is our measure of angle M. So the measure of angle M is 32 degrees. Okay. Now I'm going to plug in here 18 times 7, because that's what z is, plus 3. 18 times 7 is 126, plus 3 is 129. So the measure of angle L here, 129 degrees, is 129 degrees. And then at last, I need to find the measure of angle LKM, so this interior angle here. Now again, I have two ways I can do that. I can add these up and subtract from 180, or what I prefer, because those will equal this when they're added up, is to just subtract this number from 180, because these two angles are a straight angle and their sum is 180 degrees. So 180 minus 161 is, borrow, 19 degrees. So that last angle measure there is 19 degrees. And if I wanted to double check this, I would just add all these up and make sure that they equal 180 degrees. And if they don't, I need to check my work. Okay, the last one we have is our essential question check-in. We're going to describe the relationship among the measures of the angles in the triangle. So, what we know is the sum of our interior angles is always going to be 180. Of the interior angles. Always equals 180 degrees. Okay? What else do we know? The measure of an exterior angle is equal to the measure of its two remote interior angles. The measure of its two remote interior angles. And that's really what we just practiced here in those first 6 questions. So that is your guided practice. If you still have questions, please make sure you're marking them as you go along, and we can talk about them in class. All right, guys, that's it.